Hey there, Fight Fam! Today we have one for the books. UFC 284 has brought back a lot of eyes into the MMA world. And why not? After all, it's probably the first time the world witnessed a head-to-head clash between the two men at the zenith of combat sports. Yes, you guessed it right. I am talking about the super fight between Islam Makhachev and Alexander Volkanovski. However, for a fight of such magnitude, it is super necessary to have a backup fighter ready in case things go down south. And that's exactly what the UFC did, learning from their past experiences. And their choice was none other than Charles Oliveira. But the question is, why was the man picked by the UFC to save the day in case anything happened criticized by the fans? We will also be talking about if the card was delivered as Dana White hyped it to deliver. He even went as far as to deem this card capable of breaking one of Conor McGregor's records for PPV sales. Sounds too good to be true, isn't it? Well, we will see. It is a pretty well-known fact that Islam Makhachev wasn't very impressed by the promotional activities of his last bout. However, it will be interesting to see if the aftermath of his words will hurt his stock in the UFC. After the fight concluded with many people deeming the decision as controversial, some serious accusations have been hurled at Islam by one of Volkanovski's teammates. Finally, we are going to talk about how Islam feels about still being the pound-for-pound number 2 fighter in the world after beating the pound-for-pound king. But before we kick this thing off, I just want to ask all of you to please be sure to like and subscribe to the channel and help us get to 3,000 subscribers. Well, in terms of what's at stake, only a few fights have been able to match the intensity brought to the table by the main event. While one man put his newly won belt on the line, another man stepped up with his pound-for-pound throne at stake. And that's what made it too big to not be deemed a super fight. But as everyone saw, Khabib's protege not only defended his belt in a closely contested fight, but he also thwarted the great's attempt at becoming the 5th simultaneous double champ in UFC history. Now, when pound-for-pound number 1 and number 2 are about to butt heads, UFC can't take any chances with the card. Canceling the fight might cause some irreversible damage to the promotion's stock. Consequently, precautionary measures become necessary. That's why it's a great idea to have a backup fighter, in case something unplanned happens. UFC's choice for the main event was the defending champ's former nemesis and future Hall of Famer Charles Oliveira. The Bronx, in my opinion, was the perfect fit for the backup to this fight. After all, no bigger name than his is on the table when it comes to legacy. Despite him losing the belt in a pretty one-sided beatdown, don't forget he was the one who faced and conquered every top 5 lightweight within the span of a year. He was the underdog on every occasion, yet he proved the odds wrong. If there's a man who is worthy of headlining this event besides Islam and Alex, he is none other than Oliveira. However, many people seem to be less than thrilled with this revelation. Many people had strong opinions on Charlie Olives being the backup fighter for the main event, primarily due to him being the first champion to lose his belt on the scale. Now, I am not saying these people are wrong. Oliveira is a big 155-pounder, and he did miss weight and lose his title as a result. However, the scale was allegedly faulty, with several other fighters on that card also complaining about their weight being half a pound over what they had cut to. Not to mention, the Brazilian also missed weight by just half a pound. So, to all of Oliveira's critics and people who believe some other up-and-coming prospect should have gotten this opportunity, lo and behold, Oliveira deserved this. Coming to the UFC 284 PPV sales, Dana White confidently claimed it might break the regional PPV sales record in Australia. Interestingly, the record had been earlier held by one of the cards headlined by the PPV king, Conor McGregor. And despite a lack of promotions, this card did surprisingly well. Well enough to break the Irishman's record. One of the reasons behind this might be a significant percentage of Australian fighters in the main card. From the opening event to the main bout, except the co-main event, every fight witnessed an Australian locked inside the cage with their opponent. And suffice to say, each one of them delivered fireworks. From Jimmy Crute to Justin Tafa to Jack Della Maddalena and the top dog Alexander Volkanovski. Win or lose, they all delivered a banger card. However, the lightweight champ was not impressed by the efforts put in by the promotion to promote this event. Looking at the lackluster promotion, we can't blame him either. After all, it was the clash between number 1 and number 2 of the MMA world. two of the titans of the fight game. He complained about White not being able to pay attention to the promotion of UFC 284, attributing it to White's issues. Makhachev stated, "I see it as not such big promotion. Dana White himself has some problems. He does not pay much attention to this fight. Here in Perth, everyone knows about the fight and is looking forward to it. And in terms of pay-per-view, yes, more could have been done. I only saw Volkanovski once in Sydney. A tour can be organized around the world. A conference could be held in America. Talking about your boss's issues might not be the smartest thing to do. Beefing with Dana White as a fighter can bear some undesirable consequences. Just look at the public spat between White and Francis Ngannou. In the end, Ngannou got cut from the UFC. He's also had some disputes with some of the big names on his roster. It includes names like John Jones, Jorge Masvidal, and even Conor McGregor, after the Irishman leaked private messages between him and White. It doesn't seem to be likely that Islam's career will experience a setback because of his choice of words. After all, he is the protege of the former lightweight titan Khabib Nurmagomedov, who shares a great bond with Dana. However, only time will tell. Many people are also seeing Dana White's recently forgetting Islam's name during one of his interviews as retaliation to Islam's complaints over UFC 284 promotions. While the odds of this subtle incident being deliberate are not completely out of the window, I believe people are trying too hard to create a rift between the two. But I will leave it up to you guys to decide. Dan Hooker has come up with a venomous accusation against Islam Makhachev in the wake of his close decision victory against Volkanovski. Dan Hooker made a series of scathing tweets directed at Islam, accusing him of hydrating illegally after the weigh-ins. He tweeted, "Dumb cunt thinks he can fly to Australia, hire a nurse to give him an IV, and we won't find out, cheating dog." Finally, he made the recipient of his allegations known by name-dropping the Dagestani phenom. Islam is a cheat. Even Alexander Volkanovski chimed in with a sly dig of his own aimed at his most recent opponent. "I ended up weighing myself. I think I was like 76 or 77 kilograms. So maybe 170 or just under 170 pounds. What would 80 or 81 kilograms? 178 or 180 pounds. I think Islam Makhachev would have been. I've heard he gets up to 180, like 83 kilograms closely. You fill up pretty quick on IVs and stuff like that. Maybe that's a little shot at him," Alex joked. Using IV has been made illegal since US ADA since 2015. Fighters can be banned for 2 years if caught using it. The most recent incident regarding IV use was against Paulo Costa in 2017. Only God knows if the accusations hold some weight, or if they are just a barrage of futile attempts at making a mockery of Islam's latest achievement. Both Islam and his manager have responded to those accusations, with his manager even calling Hooker a loser. It is worth noting that the Hangman is Volkanovski's longtime teammate and friend, and has also faced Makhachev. However, the Dagestani made quick work of him, forcing him to tap in the very first round. So, has Islam really indulged in some shady tactics? Or the Australians can't digest the fact that he beat their man in the arena? I'll leave it up to you guys to decide. Even though Makhachev beat the man, the pound-for-pound ruler, the great, he hasn't been given the pound-for-pound crown yet. After flying back to his home, he was asked by the reporters about his current pound-for-pound ranking. Naturally, he wasn't impressed by the way he was snubbed by the UFC for the pound-for-pound top spot. He said, "I never expected justice, and I still don't. Because we have always seen the attitude towards us on the example of our other fighters, Ankalaev, Petr Yan. He is not wrong. Petr Yan recently lost a closely contested split decision to Sean O'Malley. This didn't sit well with many, and for the right reasons. Many notable people, including Khabib, completely believe that judges messed up the decision. Petr Yan had nearly the same story against his rematch against Aljamain Sterling. While many attributed Jan's loss to Sterling due to the control time by the champion, No Mercy lost the bout against O'Malley even after having a significant control time. So ironic, isn't it? This does sound quite fishy. Islam's frustration in words also gave hints towards discrimination toward Russian athletes. This is very much possible, even more so after the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Don't forget, Alexander Volkov's fight against Tom Aspinall almost got jeopardized due to the restrictions imposed by the UK government. So what do you think? Are Russian fighters paying the price of their government's invasion of Ukraine? Or is there something else going on in the UFC, particularly against Russian fighters? Do let us know your thoughts in the comments section. And if you liked this video, then what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to like this video and share it with your friends. Let's grow together and help us take the essence of this brutal yet beautiful sport to the masses. With this, I will meet you in the next video with the hottest updates in the MMA world. Till then, goodbye.